Okay, good morning, everyone. I suggest we officially started this online event, which is one of the final one for the Big Buyers Initiative, but also the launch of the new initiative, the Big Buyers for Climate and Environment. So we are here today with a lot of high-level speakers to get to know more what the Big Buyers Initiative and the three groups that were active in the Big Buyers Initiative have worked on in the last year and a half. So as you have seen from the document, we will have side session and also possibility to get to know a lot more in detail how to procure and how to use procurement to reach particular climate goals of public entities. So I leave the word now to Simon to just for to a quick welcome.
Great. Thanks very much, Anya. Yes, good morning, everybody. Great to see so many people in the meeting. We have 63 people, 64 people, 65. It's going up as I speak, in fact, so this is really encouraging to see. Lots of very familiar names in the list, but also a lot of new names as well. So hopefully we can present you with some interesting conclusions from the activity. Just to quickly, if you don't know me, I'm Simon Clement, working for ICLE, and I've been managing the Big Buyers Initiative for the last 18 months together with Anya from Eurocities. And we will continue as a team into the next initiative, which the European Commission will present later on today. If we could go on to the next slide, Anya.
Yeah, just a little bit. I know by now everybody is really familiar with how online meetings work, but just hear a few information on just how to interact with each other. So please keep your microphone and also video off during the presentation. Feel free to interact with us using the chat. Actually, I would be more than happy if you can just quickly say hello and where you're from. And of course, if you would like to intervene, feel free to let us know by raising your hand. And just for you to know, so here we are recording, and this is where normally you will see all the buttons for interaction with us. So just very quickly, if you can let me know, how do you feel today? So you can just let us know through the chat. So we know for sure that you have identified where it is. Nobody would like to share how do they feel today. Thank you, Arianna. Coffee. I can feel you. Lots of coffee today. Fantastic.
Some of us came prepared.
Great. So maybe just now going through the agenda for the day, as you have seen, we have. Okay, fantastic. Everybody is sharing. How do they feel? Happy. Luckily, it's Friday. I feel you. And we need coffee and a lot of busy people. So we keep it this sweet and short, how they say, but still extremely inspiring. And also we try to be able to go a lot in depth of what we have been working on. So we're going to hear from three speakers are going to mention what they have been working on both in their city but also as part of the group. And here they will give you just a little bit of pitch in 5-6 minutes, and then you will be able to hear more about the group by joining one of the three side discussions that we're going to have. So here, as mentioned, the first part, just a little bit of pitch, just a small information, and then keep all the questions for the side session, where you can get to know really all the nitty-gritty detail. And also, as mentioned, we are more than happy to use this event, also not only to close a little bit the Big Buyers Initiative, but especially to announce the Big Buyers for Climate and Environment. So the next phase of the initiative, and you're going to hear a little bit how it's going to work, and how especially those of you that were maybe not involved in this first pilot phase will have the opportunity also to join. So I see Samira has joined. Has Ivo also joined for some quick welcome?
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy that we are here for this final event meeting. I think that it's a pity that we cannot meet physically. I remember a fantastic meeting in Oslo. So it would have been very nice to have the final meeting hosted in one of the participants. It could have been, I don't know, Vienna or Stockholm, Copenhagen, and why not to visit Brussels, which would have been so new to me. I think that it has been a very positive project. The big buyers has been mentioned in many important Commission documents which have been adopted by the Commission van der Leyen. This is the case of the SME strategy, in the circular economy action plan, and also very recently in the renovation strategy, renovation wave strategy. These are all very positive signals, confirmation of the good work that you have all been doing so far. So this is all good, and maybe the last, the cherry thing, the cherry on the cake is that yesterday the Commission in the Berlin conference, the day before yesterday, Commissioner Breton in the Berlin conference referred explicitly to the big buyers initiative and the forthcoming new big buyers for climate and environment in the Berlin conference, which was a high-level conference organized together with the German presidency, seeing, for example, the participation of the Minister of Economy of Germany. So these are all very positive signs, which are which indicate how good was the work done in this project, and we will hear also from the outcome of all of you the very detailed and very interesting outputs. I think that's all for the beginning, and I reserve maybe any indication as to the future project in another part of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Ivo. So we have heard, I forgot to introduce myself officially, but I think a lot of you already know me. As Simon mentioned, I work with him in the Big Buyers Initiative. I'm Anja de Cunto. But now I would like to get to know a little bit you as well, because we have many faces that we know, but also many faces that we don't know. So we would like to invite you to do so in a little bit interactive way. So I would like you, as I'm sure by now a lot of you are familiar also with Slido, you can take your smartphone, just type slido.com and join the code 22288, or you can also read the QR code here. And the first question is really, we would like to know what is your main areas of expertise? Why are you interested in joining us today? Are you mainly involved in how can public entities use better procurement in a strategic way? Or are you mainly involved maybe in the construction sector? You are mainly interested in zero-emission construction site or circular construction? Or maybe your area of expertise is mainly related to zero-emission vehicles, and how can public entities move their city fleet or other fleet towards zero-emission in the short term? The website is slido.com, and the code is 22288. Okay, I see around 30 people are answering, so I'll stop presenting to show you instead the results live. So we currently have 54% that are mainly involved in strategic use of procurement. Sorry, yeah, I have cat in the background. They are a lifetime, except normally they sleep so much, but now they are just a little bit. I think their main area of expertise is other. Okay, so I think here in the room today we have mainly people that are interested in more strategic use of procurement, maybe a little less technical experts, and maybe the people that have wrote other would like to care to share in the chat why on which kind of field they are mainly active, or what is their role. Okay, so we have 49 people that vote. I think we keep it from there. Okay, so this was just a little bit to get to know you and get to know also from what is your main area of expertise and your main interest. So I can see a lot of people mention just procurement on a more strategic level. Fantastic. So we go back actually to the presentation. And may I leave the word to Simon to introduce the Big Buyers Initiative, and which is the main theme for today.
Excellent. Thank you, Anja. Yep. I don't think we have any meeting these days without some form of pet getting involved at some stage. So it's good to see the cat. Yes, so many of you will already know this, of course, as there are lots of familiar people with us. But for those who don't, let me quickly introduce what the Big Buyers Initiative is. This is an initiative established by the European Commission, by DG GROW, specifically to encourage the collaboration between big buyers in Europe on strategic public procurement, with the ultimate aim being to use that collaborative power to drive the market for innovative goods, innovative sustainable goods and services in a range of different sectors. Up until now, the contract has been managed by ICLE and Eurocities, and we will hear more about what's happening next following this. If you could move on to the next slide, Anja. Here we go. So at the beginning of the process, at the beginning of 2019, we carried out a needs assessment analysis to see what the cities that were engaged with the initiative were interested in working in collectively. And from that, we established 3 working groups in areas that we felt were particularly for this type of collaboration. The first of those is on circular construction materials, the second on zero-emission construction sites, and the third of those on heavy-duty electric vehicles. The idea being, of course, to see how we could collaborate together to shape procurement actions to have the most positive impact in terms of developing more environmentally sustainable solutions on the market. Now, those groups have been running now since mid to late 2019, all the way until today. And the main purpose of our meeting today is to present the results of those groups. It's great to hear from Ivo the impression that the Big Buyers Initiative is making and the wider community, and I think a lot of that is testament to the efforts that the cities and other buying organizations have put into making these really interesting collaborative initiatives, and I hope you will all very much appreciate the results which will be presented today. Okay, Anja, back to you.
So without further ado, I think it's time to start to go a little bit in detail of the 3 groups. So we start with zero-emission construction site, and I invite Philip to take the floor and explain not only what the city of Oslo has been doing, but of course this working group has very much a result of Oslo ambition, but also maybe a little bit also what the other cities are working on, and especially what was the achievement in the framework of the Big Buyers Initiative.
Thank you, Anja, and good morning, everybody. It's I can't see you, but it's good to be here, and it's good to see that there's so many people around. So that's good. I just also want to echo Ivo. You know, it would be good to meet in actual space, but this is good. So I think when we started this effort, I think 3 or 4 years back, we felt very alone, you know, and we soon understood that Oslo, we're a big city in Norway, but we're a small city in Europe, and it was really good to connect with the BBI in the early stage. I think it was a stroke of luck that BBI was there. And when we were only Oslo working with this a few years back, now there's a big group in this ZEMCONS BBI. So I think that's the best testament that this is really a good process. And as you know, we've put into focus in this project the zero-emission construction sites, and try to engage with all parties in bringing this forward. So next slide. There's no lack of challenges. We have a lot of problems, and I think this sums it up, at least some key problems that we need to tackle. And on the ground now in Oslo, this issue of getting enough electricity to the projects, that's something that we deal a lot with. So of course we need more machines, we need regulations at the European level, I believe, and we need to gather more people behind this demand. So next, please. I still have this slide. There we have the activities, and it's been really good. I think from the start off, there's been a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of people gathering around this issue. It's a new topic and it's a difficult topic to tackle, but I think my favorite was the C40 Mayor Summit in Copenhagen last year. We had an excellent opportunity there with all the big suppliers and a lot of people from different cities, and with the on-the-ground experience also from Oslo, connecting with the industry. I think that was a real good moment. We learned a lot, and I hope to see more of that kind of activity where we engage all the different stakeholders and try to look for solutions. So we have a lot of pilot projects going on now on the, actually also more projects on zero emission. I think this, in initial phase, it was about fossil free, but I think all these 4 cities on the first bullet here actually working with zero emission demonstration, and also good to see other cities. And of course, we invite more cities into this going further. We hope to see more cities. And this is a slide which sort of sums up the Oslo approach. It's, I think the big innovation in Oslo is that we now use environmental performance in the competition phase. When we tender for kindergartens or nursing homes or other public construction project in Oslo, now we use maybe 1 billion euro on this every year. Now 20, 30, 40 projects in the pipeline, and all of those projects, they need to compete on environmental performance, and actually also specifically on the capacity to build a zero emission. So on the ground now, this has been working for a bit more than a year, and there's a lot of action going on now. We see that this actually works. The construction suppliers and the companies that do this work for Oslo, they now use a lot of effort to develop their capacity for ZEMCON and constructing with electric and other sort of zero emission equipment, and it looks really promising now. A lot of new equipment is being provided and supplied into the projects. So we hope this can speed up and continue this initial development. So the next slide. It's a bit slow.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so I think we have had a lot of discussions in the groups, and I think we agree on these key points that political, you need to have the sort of political engagement into this. That's sort of one of the big assets in Oslo now. We have a mayor and a city council that really wants to do this, and of course you need to have a commitment. And then I think we have proved also in Oslo the power of a pilot site. We've had, I think, maybe 200 or so visits to this site, and it's powerful to see this actually works. So it's no big issue, and we have this pilot project now going into the final stage, and you know, the lessons learned, the key lessons learned is that, you know, this is no problem. It performs at a similar or better level than fossil systems. So internal combustion engines, you don't need them to do construction work. I think we have demonstrated that now, and yes. You need, of course, to have a market dialogue. I think that is also one of the key factors behind the success and the progress that we have seen in Oslo, that we actually engaged with the business very directly and have them involved into this process from the start on. I think that has been really also key to the success. So I think maybe we're going into the final slide.
You still don't see it?
No, I don't.
Okay. Sorry, it's a little bit slow, but there is already the outcome.
So the outcomes we've been happy to contribute to, and been have a good process around, you know, how to sum this up. We do a lot of information sharing, and I think that's key to have this possibility to keep an overview. We do publish now lessons learned report, fact sheets, and also looking forward to the guidelines. I think all this being so new, it's really good to have these kind of documents around to spread information, and yeah, think it's good.
Okay, thank you very much, Philip, for this quick introduction on ZEMCONS. We have a few minutes also for some quick questions before we continue with the other groups. And maybe I'll change way of presentation if this one is slow. So is there like any quick question for Philip? Especially if you're planning to maybe attend one of the other side rooms and then you just want to ask absolutely something to Philip, now's the time.
While people are thinking of questions, perhaps I can also just state that all of the outputs which Philip was mentioned and will be coming from the other working groups as well will of course be found on the website of the Big Buyers Initiative, and we'll show that later on. So they'll all be there to see and download.
We also had added some question for try a little bit to kick off the conversation. And it would be great to know if in your entities you're already thinking of buying or as a service non-road mobile machineries which are electric. So we have a question from Reggie. Reggie, I'm more than happy if you want to just pose it directly so we have also a little bit of interaction. Just unmute yourself and feel free.
Yeah, if you can hear me, I haven't got my headset on. I just wondered, we saw a picture with the big machine plugged into a generator. Can it be used, or is it basically charged and then it runs around without being plugged in at the same time? So it's just a very practical question, really.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think, you know, I'm a sort of a gadget freak. I think it's really funny to see. It's really interesting to see all the different solutions now being tested. And I think, you know, I think we will see a lot of different solutions. My favorite is maybe a cable connected system, but with a small battery that makes for mobility and smaller tasks that can be used, and also to have this peak shaving, because at the max output, it's a lot of stress on the electricity grid. But when you operate under normal circumstances, you don't have that same power capacity need. So systems with a combination of battery and cable, I think maybe should be more tested. But we see different solutions, both fully battery electric system with the supercharging facilities on the construction site, and also purely cable electric systems. So we see a variety of this, and I think it's too early to say what will be sort of the dominant system. I think we will see a lot of different combinations on the ground now in the future.
Thank you very much. So we have two questions from two different Nicolas. One both actually in increased cost in terms of zero-emission construction site, and a lot of these answers are in the lesson learned report. So, but if you just want to say maybe a quick word about the additional costs that you have, because
so it's really dependent on what you want to do and the different systems. We see everything from maybe a 20% initial extra cost when you need to buy the system. For instance, a cable electric drill rig. I think, you know, basically the system cost is similar, but of course you have a sort of innovation premium now in the early stage. So it's a 20% markup when you need to have a cable system, but then you gain a lot of that back because you use the energy more efficient, and you also maybe have less sort of follow up on the machine, because the electric system is more robust and a better system actually than an internal combustion engine. So it varies a lot on these heavy battery systems that we have with sort of 3 big Tesla batteries on the machine, 300 kilowatt hours plus. Then, of course, the initial extra cost is significant, maybe 3 times, you know, the initial price. ICE system maybe is 150,000 euro, and then a battery electric system is almost 500,000 euros. So that's a huge price difference, of course, and the expensive, sort of most expensive part. But we certainly expect that also to drop with more sort of streamlined production. Today we produce this locally in Oslo or in just around Oslo at the local sort of retailers. So it's a huge extra cost on that sort of pilot prototype production.
Thank you very much. And maybe a little bit also on the dialogue with the companies, and if you felt, especially at the beginning, there was a little bit of reluctance from companies to use this new machinery, or what was the discussion? Everything went well, or was it fast?
We've had a lot of discussions, and there's a lot of discussion going on, and certainly there's no alignment, so to say. There's a lot of people within the industry that think this is ridiculous. And then we see, luckily, also that a lot of people think this is really fascinating and believe that this is the future. I need to recall that in Oslo now we have every second car sold is an electric system, and both the bosses and the machine, drivers on the ground, they drive electric cars. So I think it's really something intuitive that, if you can have a battery electric transport system, then of course you can have electric construction. So this maybe is part of the success and why this grows, and Oslo is early mover here, because we have a lot of electric sort of experience with electromobility already. And I think, with the industry, we've had a lot of, it's just about engaging them, just picking up the phone and talking with them and inviting them to meetings. And I think, explaining and also, listening to them. And I think this has been really an important factor, but there's a lot of enthusiasm now also. And I think, that is part of the fun with this, that, it's very intuitive that you can do this with electricity. And it's something new and something exciting. And I think, at this stage, we have a lot of issues that needs to be addressed, and not least the cost of the system that is basically a bit higher now than the ICE systems. But we are confident that this will see hopefully a smooth and a swift development, so that in maybe 5 years' time, this is the sort of competitive business model for the most of the, at least inner city construction work.
Fantastic, Philip. And of course, for all of you that are interested in zero-emission construction site, there will be opportunity later. But maybe just we have a couple of minutes. Caitlin, I know you have shared quite a lot of information from the lesson learned. Would you like to quickly present the results of the group? Just in a couple of minutes, so that also those that will not be able to attend the zero-emission group are aware of what is coming up.
Right, as Philip already mentioned, we have several outputs of the group. Some of these are fact sheets. These are targeting different stakeholder groups, one of which is the city administration or the public, the policymakers, let's say. So this is the key arguments for that kind of profile. We also have one for citizens, the key arguments about local air quality, about the nuisance and noise that is not a problem as much with zero-emission machines. And also one for suppliers. This focuses on the total cost of ownership, the life cycle analysis of these machines, and the business case. So these have really key arguments that we found through the working group put into a tight little communication package, and these will be published on the website soon. In the lessons learned report, there is also a more in-depth look at different pilots of the working group. And this looks also at the additional cost for those pilot cases, at the type of market dialogue and market reaction they got by using specific criteria. And we also include there the criteria, minimum requirements and award criteria that they used in those procurements. So definitely a lot of good resources to dive into. And in the end of the report, there's also a link to many different specific publications from the cities themselves on the work they've been doing in this area.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So we are perfectly on time. I suggest Anna Vera now to present instead the Circular Construction Group, their activities. And for those of you that are interested, you will be able to join Philip also during the second part of. Anna Vera, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hello from Vienna. Thank you so much for contributing, or for the chance for us to contribute to this group. In the very beginning, I really would like to underline that this cooperation was some kind of the wind under my wings, because thanks to this collaboration, I was able to strengthen the position of the topic here locally, and to elevate it on a higher strategic level. And additionally, this exchange helped us to scale the experience of the other cities in Vienna, instead of making the same, I don't have another word, just to making this over and over again. The focus of our group was fostering circularity in the procurement of reused, recycled, or reusable construction materials and construction elements, which we can harvest from dismantling works. I think we had a very nice and geographically heterogeneous group. We were talking with colleagues from the north of Europe, of Europe until to the south. So it was really, really enlightening for me and hopefully for the contributing cities too. Is it so important that we really have to have a look at the construction sector when we want to start this transition from linear economics to circular economy? I think this picture really put it on the point. We in the construction sector, we are consuming so many raw materials and in the same time we are producing so much waste. And so using circular construction materials tackles, of course, the decarbonization and the resource conservation. And so we have to face many challenges, of course, in this transition. I think we had to discuss, of course, how we can raise the awareness of architects. They are then at the very beginning of the life cycle, because it's a different way of designing and thinking about a building when you have to consider secondary materials and elements. But when we want to consider them, when we are thinking how to retrofit or how to design a new building, we really need data. And there is now a lack of data, which we really could build up by using digital tools, and of course to exchange all those information all over Europe, because we really don't know when and where we can harvest as much materials and elements in a good quality to use them in our projects. And of course, when we know where they are and when we are able to work with them, then we need some new business models and new models how to cope with the logistics. For example, in Vienna, we really we are growing very fast, and we don't have so much space just to store them somewhere. And so this was something we started to learn, for example, very much from Oslo and the northern states. So maybe you can switch to the next. Yes, thank you. Maybe my internet connection is lacking now, but I think I will just continue talking because I cannot see the slide now. But it's not a problem. I think when I remember the slides now, I should talk about our activities, which we did together. It was, of course, we met in personal 2 times in Vienna and in Oslo. And of course, many times we did some video chats, and it was very interesting for me that we all have the same problem. And so it was very, very good to start a knowledge platform to exchange our best practices, and of course to share how we can update our tender criteria. For example, how we can include low carbon concrete or recycled aggregates. And what I think there was another point we did some exploration about our role in municipality, how we can facilitate circular construction, and this led to some local activities. Helsinki, Haarlem, and Vantaa started pilots on demolition. Additionally to this, Paris, Rotterdam, Zurich, Vienna, and I think when I remember it right, Helsinki and Oslo too, we all started pilots in including reused and recycled content in new construction. Now, and we started some local market. Now I can see the slide. Thank you so much. And we started some local market dialogues in Amsterdam, Budapest, Helsinki, Stavanger, and Vienna. I think this were very exciting activities, and we really could actively start using this experience of the last year when we learned about market engagement. Some new tools have been developed, mostly regarding LCA and the carbon footprinting. We had three key learnings. We really need to rethink and relearn our role. So we are, as municipalities, we are promoter, enabler, and I think this is something what the market really emphasized. Of course, we are regulator. So this public procurement in combination with regulation is one of the most powerful leverages. We need a method for a circularity index. So standardizing these tools is, of course, a key for this transition from linear to a circular construction. This waste hierarchy, we should bring more into front, so that we should not downcycle all the time. I think it is so important just to emphasize that recycling is quite nice, but we have to start reusing the materials and the products as they are. And of course, was I think what I said before, our key learning was doing this together. We really need this collaborative approach with so many actors all across the value chain. We need to combine municipality with science and, of course, with the market. Unfortunately, my internet connection is really lacking. So I think now I'm on the last slide, when I remember it right. So maybe if you're interested in our outcomes and which things we really could point out, is just take a look at our lessons learned report. There we just tried to, in a very short way, just how you can consider circular design. We have some we just started developing some example procurement criteria. We showed our pilots, and of course there are some reflections on EU action towards a circular construction sector by all of our members, because this is a topic we really need to think in a European way and not only locally. So thank you. This was from Vienna, and maybe there are some questions for me.
Yeah, indeed, we have 5 minutes for some quick question. So there is a question where the report can be found. We are finalizing the last details, and it's going to be available on the website of the Big Buyers Initiative very, very soon. Just a bit of graphic left. So Nicolas, maybe you would like to, I see there is a long question, would like to pose it directly to Anna Vera?
Hello, my English is not so good, but we understand that to manage to reuse material, you need to have a lot of actors so that you are not alone by reusing yourself, but you need to have, as I said, private sectors, housing, office buildings, social housing. So did you manage to aggregate all of these actors so that your experimentation is a success? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this question. This is the big elephant in the room. Yesterday I had one of these sessions where we brought many people from every stage of the life cycle of a building together. So when we just started design of a retrofitting of one of our objects, and for this reason we really need to start an integral design process. And I think we really needed the whole afternoon discussing all those questions, starting with what about the costs? How should this process be changed? Because when you're thinking about circularity in construction, you find solutions for the next phase, so, and for this reason we really started combining all those stakeholders together. It is, of course, I cannot say now exactly how successful we are, because we just started our pilots now. But what I really can state is that the planning phase really has to be extended to bring all those people in the very beginning on one table.
So there is another question from Galvin about specification that you can share. And I guess this is also something that is part of the lesson learned document. As Vera mentioned, there are some beginners criteria that can be used in procurement. So we're looking forward to share with you the final report. As mentioned, it's just a matter of some final graphic details that have to be adjusted, and then they will be uploaded on the website, and of course will be sent to all of you that register for this webinar. I invite all of you that are interested in circular construction to join then the side group, where you will be able to really ask all the nitty-gritty questions and details on how it's done in Vienna, but also in the other cities that were involved in the group. So I now leave the word to Richard. We move to our third group, and the one on heavy-duty electric vehicles.
Thank you. My name is Risa Brabus, category buyer, transport and mobility at the city of Rotterdam. In the next 15 minutes, I will present the results of the big buy group electric vehicles. And this big buy group has a focus on heavy duty electric vehicles. So this includes and street cleaning equipment and their charging infrastructure. Can we go to the next slide? First, the uptake of heavy-duty electric vehicles is low compared in Europe to smaller electric vehicles events. We identified the following challenges. First, the price of electric vehicles and availability are not the same in Europe. Another challenge is the range and power limitations of heavy electric vehicles. Third one, the acquisition of vehicles and the charging infrastructure become all important elements in the tender criteria. We need to work on new tender criteria. And before we can procure electric vehicles, we need good data. And the last one, buying electric vehicles require a high level of political commitment. At the beginning of the collaboration, we identified a series of activities was necessary to purchasing of heavy-duty electric vehicles. The first one is that we need to develop and share tender documents and procurement criteria. So we create a platform for collaboration. The second one is there's currently little information available among buyers. So as a group, we conducted market dialogues and we have engagements with companies about the products and future technology plans. And the last one, the activities of this group have resulted in a joint statement of demand and lessons learned procuring heavy-duty vehicles. This slide shows a timeline of the Big Buy Group. In my opinion, the collaboration has achieved a lot in 1 year. The first half year, we focus on creating a sharing platform. After this, we had acknowledged to start a market dialogue. All the cities have a target to reach a zero-emission fleet by 2030. I will explain the activities of a few participants. This activities confirms the importance of this buy group. So the first one, in Lisbon, only offers were received for gas and diesel. And Helsinki, Amsterdam, Stavanger and Oslo are planning to launch tendering electric vehicles at 2020 and of the beginning of 2021. In the next slide, we see the objective of Rotterdam. And the objective of Rotterdam is in line with the other participants. But we have also the following sub-goals. In Rotterdam, passenger cars must be zero emission in 2023. The light commercial vehicles in 2025. And the biggest challenge for us is a zero emission heavy vehicles in 2030. Recently, we procured 2 fully electric garbage trucks. The photo at the top right shows the first electric vehicle for the collection of underground containers. So our objective for 2030, you might think 9 more years. That's a long time. But the vehicles have an average life of 8 years. So in 2023, we must buy the last electric vehicle. The market dialogue on the next slide provides useful information. The first lesson learned is that companies are eager to share information, current products. Second, electric and hydrogen is the way forward for many companies. The image at the right shows the future of electric vehicles. So you can see that the focus of the companies is on electricity and hydrogen. Finally, there are also technical challenges. There are differences in charging solutions, for example, fast charging, and the maintenance and guarantee on the battery. The outcome of the electric vehicle group, I think the next slide, is a joint statement of demand. This joint statement of demand is also open to other cities or other public entities. in this statement of demand, you can see the procurement plans of all the participants. And this is the next slide. Thanks for your attention. I would like to invite you to electric vehicle discussion.
Thank you very much, Richard. And indeed, if you want to know more about the group and what we have learned, but also our joint statement of demand with aggregated procurement plans, you're more than welcome to join the third side discussion that we will have, where you can also ask Richard which kind of criteria he used maybe for purchasing of these fully electric heavy-duty vehicles, and especially the sweepers also. We were lucky enough to visit as one of our final meeting, AB Schmidt, and to go to see the factory where electric sweepers are produced. So it was also an interesting experience to share. Are there any questions for Richard? Nicolas, again, feel free to just ask Richard a question directly. In mention of retrofitting, something that
Hello.
start considering.
Yes, because retrofitting might be a good solution by keeping our actual vehicle, by changing the engine. I don't know if it works or if there are suppliers that can do that, but instead of buying the full structure, buy only the changing of engine. Is it something that you are thinking about? Thank you.
In Rotterdam, our focus in the last years was retrofitting. But now we focus on OEM products, original manufacturers. In Rotterdam, we believe that OEM products, the cost will be lower than retrofitting. So in Rotterdam, we only buy original products and not retrofitting anymore. But retrofitting is a good chance to begin with electric vehicles.
But I know some other entities were investigating and they're starting to have market dialogue, but indeed technology is not there yet. I don't know if Sami is still connected, but because he mentioned he's had some market dialogue in Helsinki on retrofitting solution. He was connected at the beginning. Maybe you want to say something?
Yes, please. I could mention we have this retrofit project going on with the state VTT and University of Applied Sciences of Tampere, and we took one 7-year-old Scania truck and we took out the whole combustion engine powertrain and we retrofitted it with electric one. So and we are going to get that vehicle back in Helsinki in 1 month, and we're hoping that we will learn and we will be able to represent those data gatherings and those pinpoints that are needed in order to procure retrofitted vehicles. This project has been successful in that sense that at least 3 market actors have approached us and said that okay, they are willing to do this as a market actor, and this is great news in my perspective. So most of the cities we do have the fleet, and we've invested tens of millions of euros or hundreds of millions of euros at the present net values. So we simply don't have enough money to right away immediately to transfer that to fully electric ones without retrofitting. So this is building the bridge towards the brand new, properly built vehicles from manufacturers.
Yeah, and indeed the need, especially how this vehicle perform, either whether they are new or when they are retrofitted in real life reality, is one of the things we were also thinking of working for the next phase of the Big Buyers initiative. But before we pass into explaining to you what is going to come there, we still have a few minutes. If you have more questions for Richard or for the other members of the group, we have many of them also participating.
Anya, perhaps I could raise one question as well. One of the objectives at the start of the Big Buyers Initiative was to see what the prospects are for joint procurement as well. Now, we know this is a very complicated area, very difficult to align the specific needs, the specific procurement schedules of the different buying partners. But I know this is something you've discussed within the EVs group. Could you maybe share your thoughts on that? So what those discussions were, what the conclusions were? Is something like that potentially possible in an area like this, would you say?
Thank you for the question. The difficult is that availability of products is not the same in Europe. In Rotterdam, we can buy different vehicles than other cities. But we think that the best option is to make the same tender documents. So if we can make the same criteria, that's the first step for all of us. And with the same criteria, we can also maybe reduce the price. Buying together, I think that's maybe the next step in the future. It's difficult.
Thank you very much, Richard. We have a small paragraph on this and the discussion that we had on joint procurement and why for the moment we felt we are still not there. But maybe, yeah, something for the next years. So I think now it's time to start to present indeed the next steps and how we are going to move in the next couple of years. So I invite Ivo Locatelli to mention the big buyers for climate and environment. What is
Yes, thanks again, Anya, Simon. Thanks again for first for organizing this very nice meeting, and thanks especially to all the participants of the to the first project, which made of this first project a success. Special thanks to the Oslo, Vienna, and Oslo, Vienna, now and Rotterdam for leading the 3 subgroups. But really big thank to all the participants. I have to say that despite the title of this event, which is called Final Event and makes me think about the movie Armageddon, we are going to have a new contract and a continuation of this activity. Maybe I can explain a little bit what are the objectives and the contract durations. So the objectives, we are very much in the stream of the Green Deal. That's why the title of the project has been changed from Big Buyer for Climate and Environment, and it's addressed to cities, regions, CPBs, utilities, hospitals. And it aims at fostering a cooperation between big buyers in driving the market for innovative solutions, which what has been happening, I have to say, in the first in the pilot project. The contract is supposed to last 2 years, and maybe I will enter a little bit on some technicalities in this respect. The objectives are, again, we are again in the field of fostering economic recovery and stimulating innovation. It has to be a very inclusive project, which aims at including self-motivated parties with the objective of achieving a bigger impact. That's why we are aiming at big buyers. The final objective is, yes, sharing know-how, but building together market engagement, sourcing, know-how transfer, identification of building up, let's say, preparing a call for tender. So all the elements which can be useful for, let's say, for benefiting from collaboration between parties which have similar problems. Of course, the starting element of this has to be the identification of the needs, and this will be the first task of the contractor. which is going to be again ICLEI and Eurocities. And this is extremely important. It's important that the areas of work correspond to actual needs of the buyers. When I was speaking before about inclusive project, it means that it's completely open. We are at all not aiming at having exactly the same participants. It really depends on the motivation of each party. So I'm very happy that today in this event there are many old faces, many usual suspects, but also many new participants. I saw in the list of participants people from Köln, from Bratislava, from Bucharest, from Wrocław. This is all very positive. Again, on the project, we are going to cover 4 work streams, which have to be identified on the base of the common needs. Of course, we don't have to waste the investment which has already been done in the previous project, but there could be completely new areas. And one of them is certainly health, which was not covered under the current project. We are going to pilot this area, which is extremely important in terms of procurement and in terms of the benefit that such collaboration could lead. Also, maybe as a final point, is that the focus of this project is very much on innovation, and maybe some of you are aware, because I noted that some of you have taken part to our first webinar on the Innovation Partnership. We have launched a cycle of webinars on the Innovation Partnership. The second one will take place on the 1st of December, and it's covering preparation of an innovation partnership. So market consultation, sourcing, and tender preparation. So I very much welcome if you are interested to attend this webinar. This might also be useful for your future activities. Thanks a lot, and I pass you the floor.
Thank you, Ivo. So I think we now leave the word. Maybe Simon, if you would like to add something before we ask the participants, what do they think about these next steps?
Yeah, I would like to just quickly. So yeah, thank you very much, Ivo. I think this is really great news for all of us that we can continue what's been a very successful partnership, I think, for the last couple of years. So really excited about that. But also to echo what Ivo has said, that we're very open to have many new participants into this activity as well as continuing the collaboration that we've had. In the first phase, we, alongside the working groups that were established in these 3 topics, we also have an observer group that was established as well, that I know a number of you are also participating in. And we will continue this into the next phase as well. So also participants who are not necessarily actively engaged in the individual working groups can keep up to date with what we're doing. So all of those who sign up for the observer group will receive both email updates about the group's activities, but also regular webinar updates where they can get information about what's going on at the moment and the opportunity to ask questions as well. So we will continue that into the next phase of the project as well, and hope many of you can join that. But yeah, extremely exciting 2 years to come, hopefully. Anja, over to you.
If I may, sorry, I want just to add one element which I've not been mentioning before, which I think is important. The commission funding, which will cover 2 years, covers, of course, the work of the Secretariat, which has a very important role in steering the project and mobilizing the various parties, organizing eventual training activities or other technical assistance where is necessary, but also will include the traveling services. Now, so far, and given the current circumstances, this is less useful, but we hope that the situation will go back to normality. And so if we will be able to see and have visits, the traveling expenditures will also be covered, and that will be within one single contract, which is aimed at simplifying also and streamlining the activities of this group.
Thank you very much, Ivo. Yeah, we all hope we are going to be able to meet each other live again soon. Before that, we will, as I mentioned, one of the first activities of the new phase of the project is get to know on which products and services we will start our work. So I would like to invite you to join again via Slido. Type in 2288, no, 3 times 2 and then 88, and I will move to the next poll, which is a lot simpler. It's just, will you be interested in joining the next phase of the Big Buyers Initiative? You can say yes, I want to be actively involved, or maybe not yet, but as Simon mentioned, there will be opportunities to just get involved and learn and share without necessarily being fully committed to participate to the group. So I can see, I'm gonna start now sharing the results so you can also see what I'm seeing. Voila. So it seems that currently we have 21 people that have answered, and oh, there was a change of mind. 22 people, and 100% are saying that are interested in joining the next phase of the Big Buyers. So just a couple 10 seconds more. This question is not hard, but the next one is going to be harder, because then we would like to know around which area. So what are the top priority in terms of procurement, and especially those areas where you might need some European collaboration to help you get things further, like the 3 groups. I love that Anna Vera said it was the Big Buyers was the wind under her wings to push things further in the city, but also at European level. It was a fantastic way of describing the project. Okay, so 34 people answer, and it's unanimous. Everybody would like to get involved in the next phase, but maybe now you can start to reflect with the next poll on which area. So which are really the products right now that maybe they are not existing yet, like we had for zero emission construction site. There were really products that were not existing on the market. And then instead on zero emission vehicles, heavy duty vehicles, some products are already existing, but they are still very costly. And the dialogue with the market can help this collaboration further. Or for circular construction as well, it requires really a dialogue with all the actors that are involved in the cities and also new. So we have one of the first answer is climate change adoption. You are also welcome to be very specific, like really a specific product or service. Mobility as a service, that's actually interesting because it's something that emerged also in the last needs assessment that we did. Well, okay, ZEMCONS is a big winner, I can see, but a lot of other possibilities. So this is the start of our needs assessment. So how do we decide on which areas we are gonna focus for the next 2 years? So it's actually great. Whole life carbon costing, textile. So circular textile is also something that is a priority for a lot of companies at the moment. But also ICT hardware, zero emission construction material, and how to commit the politician, which could be something alongside the 3 groups, definitely. Okay, so a few more. Circular utensils. Will be interested to know more about what do you mean by circular utensil? Maybe through the chat or the side discussion a little bit later. And stakeholder engagement. So we have some products and some services, but we also have some cross-cutting activities, stakeholders engagement, the politicians engagement, the political commitment, involvement of companies. Okay, so we have currently 38 people that have answered: circular construction procurement, circular construction, healthcare services, which, as Ivo mentioned, one of the new area that we will launch will definitely be around the topic of health. We don't know yet exactly on which products or service. Heavy duty, so there is an interest also to continue there. And political involvement. Okay, so we have quite a lot of answer, and this is going to be great to kick off our first phase of the next project, because indeed we are going to have a couple of months where you can come back to us and you can mention exactly what kind of products do we need to work on, and so we will be able to start new areas of collaboration compared to the 3-1 that were under the Big Buyers Initiative. So thank you very much for sharing. I will keep the poll open so you can keep on inputting. I will just stop sharing my presentation. Fantastic. So Simon, what do you think?
That's a wonderful response, really. Better than I think you were even hoping. Possibly it's skewed a little bit towards the construction and the vehicle sectors, presumably because of the nature of this webinar as well and the people that we have here. But I think there were also some very interesting new ideas within that. Obviously, ICT was an interesting focus. Solar panels and solar walls, I noticed was in there. Solar windows, several people mentioned this. New groups, textiles and furniture. We know that there are problems coming local authorities' way in terms of textile separation and the waste directive, the waste regulations about that. So I think there are a lot of potential areas of collaboration, but it is also worth noting the interest, the wish to continue with some of the collaboration that we already have going within the Big Buyers Initiative as well. So great starting point.
Fantastic. Anybody would like to comment or to mention why they've put something in a specific, maybe something new that is not related to the topic of today? So there was a comment that we need to keep on working on heavy-duty vehicles, especially for waste collection. This is also something that comes from also European regulation, more on national level. But Anita, would you like to comment or to come in and explain? Because funny, no, it's not funny. I mean, mobility as a service actually arrived fourth in the Big Buyers Initiative when we were starting at the beginning, then deciding on which area to collaborate. So mobility as a service definitely was something that emerged during the last needs assessment.
Yes, I have mentioned two things. I have mentioned the zero emission technologies for the transport. That means obviously public and heavy duty vehicles. And also I mentioned hydrogen technologies, because as you know, I'm the chairwoman of the Hydrogen Technologies Board for the Riga City Council, and hydrogen in the next planning period is one of the main pillars as the zero emission technology. And it's not just for the public transport, it's for the district heating, you just name it. But hydrogen is everywhere now. It's the big white horse now for the European Commission. So I think those technologies also should be included in this initiative. And what I truly is that for the later discussion, I would like to know if someone is already from this audience working with the hydrogen technologies within this initiative.
For sure, in the heavy-duty vehicles, there was a lot of discussion on hydrogen, maybe also in ZEMCONS, I'm not sure. Yeah, so definitely that it's the discussion, but it's depending how the division. Some people believe hydrogen is a different technology, and some says no, it's actually we still mean electric when
yeah, it's electric, because hydrogen is just an energy carrier. You know, it's still an electric at the end of the day. When you put it, it's still a battery for the transport.
Okay, so thank you very much, Inga. It was great to hear also from a city that has not been involved until now in the group. So now is the time that we go in depth on each of the group activities. You are going to have the opportunity to ask all the questions, to share all your issues, and to especially share what you would like to work on in the future and what you would like to learn and what you would like to focus on. So I would like to invite you to join the three-side groups. What is gonna happen? You're gonna have three hosts, our three speakers, but also our three hosts for today. So you can either join Philip and Caitlin in the room on circular construction, on zero-emission vehicle. Sorry, once again. I am trying to do too many things at the same time. I've been sharing the link to join the room, and I also still have to start to share the presentation. So 1 second, and then we can start again. So now is the time to join the breakout rooms. You will be able to discuss and share. You can choose in which room you would like to join. And if you need help that you don't know how to reach the room, my colleagues will stay in the main room and you will be able to just ask for help. Otherwise, it's simply clicking and then you will be redirected to another room. So you can either join Philip and Caitlin for the zero-emission construction site room, and here you have the link. You can join Simon or Anna Vera and to discuss further circular construction materials, or you can join me and Richard and the other colleagues also for the breakout room on heavy-duty electric vehicles. So now is the time. You have received these links in the presentation. You have received them in the document that I've shared with you, or they have been now added in the chat. So if you have any issue or question, feel free to mention it. And otherwise, I am gonna move also to the room for heavy-duty vehicles, and we meet back here just 5 minutes before the end for some final goodbye and maybe quick evaluation of the day. So just some final minutes to present the publication and the work. I hope you have been having interesting discussion. There was a lot of definitely, at least in my group, on the next steps and how to continue the collaboration and on what to focus. For example, standardization and data. And yeah, again, big question whether hydrogen is the way forward and what to focus, whether charging infrastructure, electric or hydrogen. So this is something definitely that we will keep on working in the future. How about you, Simon?
Well, we touched at the end on the point about the renovation wave and the importance of linking what we're doing to this and the issue of the choice of demolish or renovate, for example. So I think that offers a very interesting area of collaboration. And we heard, of course, about a number of different ongoing activities within the cities where there's a lot of lessons are going to undoubtedly come out of that. So there's certainly a lot of scope for collaboration going forward there as well.
Fantastic. Caitlin?
Yeah, so in our group, we discussed a lot about how exactly you get to finally doing the thing. And this means, first of all, of course, aligning the internal organization, getting different city departments on board, getting a top-down strategy, for example, of climate neutrality aligned with a procurement strategy, aligned with procurement criteria, and then going to the market with this, and of course, doing a good back and forth to align the ambitions of the city with the market maturity. We also talked about how risk can be managed and distributed between different actors in such an innovative procurement. Finally, we did touch on as well the regulatory aspects of this, how these kinds of innovative things that we see as the future can be structurally supported by aggregating demand across cities in Europe, for example, and also, of course, very much by national regulation on fuels, on fossil fuels and on biofuels, and also EU regulation on the NR and carbon emissions.
Thank you very much. So once again, we invited to learn and share a lot of what the results of our 1 year of work. So Caitlin have been working really a lot in the last weeks to summarize so many of this lesson learned and so many of this knowledge that we have been sharing in the last year. So the publication will soon be available on the website of the Big Buyers Initiative, and of course we will also share them with you by email. And I think that was it from our side. We are at the very end of this event. Maybe from my side, I would like to thank you, colleagues from ICLE and Eurocities that were in the back, but also helped us for this today event. And of course, I leave the word maybe to Caitlin and Simon to also say their welcome, their goodbye, and thanks.
Thank you very much, Anja. And yes, thanks enormously for your work in organising this final event as well. I know this has been a lot of work to do in the last couple of weeks, but I think it's really paid off. And this is the case for the whole of the initiative. We've all found this enormously interesting and useful, I think, as an initiative, and are very excited that we now have the opportunity to keep going with this. And I hope that, of course, those who are already involved will continue to be involved within this work over the next 2 years, but that others who have learnt about it for the first time today, perhaps, will also consider participating in this, and that we will identify some interesting new areas of collaboration going forward as well. So thanks to everybody. And yeah, I think, Caitlin, unless you want to say a final word?
No, just a big thank you to all of the cities, of course, for your leadership and determination in taking this work forward. And thank you for those who have been interested in following this work and getting the word out about these topics specifically today. And hoping to see more of this soon.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for all of you. And Ivo is still connected. We hope to see you in next events, next webinars, next opportunities to share, and maybe one day also next opportunities to meet live and then discuss during coffee breaks about all this interesting work. So thank you very much.
So much.